Я говорю, что несовместимость по знаку зодиака. Или говорю, ну если второй раз встретимся, то это судьба. Ну я просто притворяюсь, будто бы мне кто-то звонит, и я говорю по телефону, так убегаю, все.
Как мы отказываем?
Нежно. Нежно, но уверенно.
Нет пользы.
Не отказываю. Не отказываю, в принципе. О, господи, это очень сложный вопрос. Мы застрянем с вами на том.
Да, ну, перестаньте. Ну, какие-то, может быть, знаки подаете там или... Ну,
Если на улице, возможно, то домашний тороплюсь или опаздываю.
Я могу сказать, я не хочу с тобой никуда идти.
так прям прямо.
Ну, а что делать? Это честно будет? Это же будет честно? Ну, все.
Неужели нет, к сожалению. Каждый мужчина разный, нужно
Да.
уважать особенности различия, поэтому подход тоже
Я-
должен быть, да, чтобы не обидеть человека и не задеть его.
Если он вас зовет куда-то, вы не хотите с ним идти.
Ну, я либо говорю, что я либо занята учебой, либо с подругами уже гуляю. Все.
А если приглашает вас куда-то, вы не хотите с ним идти?
Ну, обычно ты каким-то, ну, не обманом, но очень вежливо пытаешься сказать,
Не
что
обидим.
у тебя, да, какие-то дела, чтобы человека не задеть, и у тебя уже планы там заранее распланированы. Поэтому...
Там, может, какой-то знакомый, который... Там,
Сказать, что у меня есть парень, я нашла себе нового парня и гуляю с ним. Вот и все.
А вы? Какие-то животные фразы или знаки для мужчин, когда вы хотите с ним ничего иметь?
Ну, наверное, иногда я просто игнорирую его. Вот. Ну, либо так же, вот как было сказано уже.
А, знакомый,
Куда-то
ну,
на свидание.
прямо можно сказать, там, извини, мне неинтересны отношения, или
Да.
там, ну, так что да, друзьями будем. А у вас какое мнение по этому поводу?
Я не знаю, я не отказываю, наверное.
Чаще всего мужчина сам это понимает на самом деле. Типа, потому как ты к нему относишься, если как-то холодно, то он типа не будет, если он сам себя уважает. А если какое-то быдло, то як ты есть длительный контакт.
Я обычно вежлива, чтобы не обидеть человека. Просто говорю спасибо вам за оказанное внимание, но мне неинтересно.
Я говорю, что у меня другие планы на вечер, надо уходить.
Ну, просто вот
Да. Ну да.
отказывать.
Просто проходишь мимо и не обращаешь внимания или как-то.
Hi guys, my name's Steve and I'm a happily engaged client of Match Guarantee. I'm here to share my experiences and lend a helping hand to you guys who are also on this journey because, again, it's not an easy one. Today's topic is rejection lines given by ladies in Ukraine. But first, subscribe to our channel now and smash the bell so you don't miss out on the 37 exciting Bachelor auditions that are already up or coming to this channel soon. Also, if you smash the bell, YouTube will notify you when we do go live for the pilot reality TV show. So, ladies in Ukraine, they really do enjoy being pursued, and that's an expectation. But they also have a fine line as they don't have an abundance of choice. So, as you can see, most of the ladies on their response, they try to be real thoughtful in their response and be very polite. You know, if you do that and you're respectful in your approach, they'll be respectful back. Otherwise, they'll just try to ignore you or try to come up with a simple excuse or just to try to throw you off the scent, if such. From my experience, Ukrainian ladies don't play games. If they're interested in you, they'll go out with you. If they aren't, they'll give you answers just like you just saw. Rarely will they make up some elaborate story or just crush you like ladies in the West would. For example, if a lady's interested and they do have plans, the ladies most often would likely suggest a different day to do something or say, hey, sorry, I have plans tonight. What about tomorrow? So if you are pursuing a lady and she turns you down, but she offers a different way of saying or a different day, that can tell you that she's really interested. If she's just giving you a bunch of lines and says, oh, I just can't tonight, I'm going to be studying, or those kinds of things, that's a way that they're just trying to politely let you down so they don't hurt your feelings. In the West, again, that's not common. They'll just pretty much tell you. In Ukraine, it's also culturally okay to tell a little white lie. It's accepted as part of you not trying to hurt a man's feelings or hurt anyone's feelings, that you're trying to reject them or tell them something that may not be pleasant to hear. So that's how they kind of get around it. They'll tell little white lies, or they'll say things that maybe aren't true, or that kind of thing. So, but if you know that, you can kind of understand when you receive those kinds of things what they're actually telling you. Again, they don't play games over there. If they want to go out with you, most likely they'll find a way to go out with you. If they don't, they'll make up an excuse. And that's to try to tell you they're really not interested. What has happened is guys that will keep trying and trying and trying. And then, they don't take the hint from the lady that, hey, I'm not really interested in you. Please stop. Western women, again, have no problem doing that. Ukrainian women are a little different in that. So these are the hints they give off. A Ukrainian man, if a lady would reject him once first, they would just say, whatever, go on to the next lady, because they're the majority there. The ladies are in majority, so they can just find another beautiful lady with no problem. Other times, for the ladies, it's a little harder than that. So if they're interested, again, they'll find a way to try to say, hey, what about this? How about this? And try to help you navigate that to go out with it. They're not interested. Again, they'll just pretty much, hey, I have plans tonight. I'm going to be studying, or I'm going to be out with friends. Sorry. And that's kind of their way of saying, yeah, I'm not really interested. Please don't try again. But some guys do pursue, and that's when you can see them really get kind of irritated if you do it again and again and again, much like ladies in the West. So if you're over in Ukraine, for example, and you're giving one of these excuses, take it for what it is and move on. Again, there's plenty of ladies in Ukraine, plenty of different places that you can go to meet ladies, and go ahead and just move on and save yourself the hassle of saying, well, maybe if I tried a different approach or all that. No, just move on. Try to find a different way, or a different lady, a different place to meet ladies, and do that. Now, in my experience going to Ukraine, I've heard this a couple of different times, and I just knew, okay, fine, I'll go find another person or that kind of thing. When I first met my fiance, we went out, had a great night. I invited her out another night, and she told me, no, she had a party at her work for her boss, but can we go out the next night? And sure, of course. And we made plans based on that. So ladies, they'll tell you the truth if they want to date with you. If they do have plans, again, they'll work around those to try to help facilitate that second date or third date or fourth date, whatever you happen to be. If they're not, for the most part, if you call or text them and they don't respond, again, if it's a week, something like that, they're trying to be politely and not crush your spirit by saying, hey, I'm not interested. So that's another thing that guys ask me about sometimes. It's like, well, I texted her and she hasn't responded for a week. Should I text her again? Sure, if you want to. But again, if she doesn't respond after a couple of different times, a week each time, then move on. Try to find someone else to pursue. So again, if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them online. I'm trying to see if there's any comments or questions online. And apparently there doesn't seem to be too many right now. So anyway, other people will ask me, okay, Steve, we've met these ladies. They've given us these lines. When are they telling me the truth, and should I still pursue them? If they give you an honest answer, there's a way to do it. Again, they'll suggest something if they want to meet you. Again, they're in the minority, or men are in the minority, ladies are the majority. So they'll say, hey, can we make plans this other way? Now, they'll say the day, but don't expect them to make the plans for you. You're the man, you make the plans. So if you say, hey, I'd like to go out tomorrow night with you, they'll say, I can't, but I could Saturday. Don't say, oh, okay, what would you like to do? That's the kiss of death. Again, have a plan for what you want to do and go follow through with that plan. That's what they're expecting. That's what you'll get the most bang for your buck out in what you're going to do. Also, you don't have to worry about, am I getting scammed? Am I going to a restaurant where they're going to pay her money to have her drag me here? All these different things. Again, that's just one of those things where if you make the plans and you set up everything about the date, then you're going to know for sure that you're the one that made the plans. You know how much you're going to spend, and you can rest assured that everything's going to be okay. Mark just typed, there are 2 words to remember when the situation in Ukraine comes up: easily replaceable. And that's so true. A lot of the guys, if they ask a lady out for one time and they turn them down, I'm talking Ukrainian men, they'll just say, hit the road. Who cares? I'm too good for you anyway, and move on. So that's what they kind of expect from Ukrainian men. So Ukrainian men, if someone turns them down, they think they're going to be too good for that lady anyway. So understand that and know that if you have a question, feel free to ask. But again, you're responsible for making the date. You're responsible for, if she says, give me another chance to, let's do another night, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. But again, plan. I always tell guys, plan the date, know what you want to do, and make sure you go through the steps in doing that. That's also where your translator comes in. She'll speak to the girls and get an honest answer. Yes, that's true. Most of the dates I went on, I didn't have a translator. Most of them spoke very good English. Where Match Guarantee, where a lot of the help there for me came in, is sometimes I thought it went well, usually it did go pretty well. If I wasn't sure, I was able to get feedback and say, hey, what did she think? Is this worth pursuing or not? And that's something where an agency is very helpful in doing that. Otherwise, if you're just trying to find out on yourself, again, you're coming from a different culture, you can see these mistakes and making mistakes yourself. Anyway, does anyone else have any questions? Anything else like that for today? If you do, put them in the comments below. Also, guys, if you have any other questions or want us to do any emails about that, or send us an email on something that you want us to do, or put it in the comments again, we can do that. Talk about age differences. I think that was covered earlier today quite well. Age difference for me, I can just tell you from my experience, it's something that you go with your coach and you talk about it. For us, we have what we call a zone of success, and that's kind of our way of how we describe that. Otherwise, I'm not going to get in a full rant on age gaps. I think you'll see plenty of videos on that from us. I'll tell you, this scam agency is built on large age gaps. And if you want the truth, a lot of guys can't handle the truth, unfortunately. But you'll find plenty of videos that will give you real good, different interactions with that, and kind of tell you the truth on what you're navigating. We have our zone of success, which is 15 years and under. If you'd like to get some more information or have a coaching call, feel free to send an email to info@matchguaranty.com, and we can set you up with a coaching call, and we can go into depth and talk about some issues or some questions you might have. Otherwise, if you have any other questions, that's one thing you can say. And here's Mark. Big age gaps are Ukrainian agencies' way of separating you from your money. Unfortunately, yes, that's very, very true. That's how the big scam agencies, not so much agencies, but PPL sites, really, they sell, a bill of goods that just really isn't true. Again, I'm engaged. She's 8 years my junior. And, we're happy about that. We have a great relationship. We've been talking and dating for well over a year. And it's just one of those things that you still have to navigate. But again, I came over to Ukraine multiple times and saw her and that kind of thing. Is your fiance in Kyiv? Yes, she is still. She does have her interview coming up the third week in May, and then she'll get the final steps on her visa. I'm going to go back over myself in June again to see her, and then hopefully soon after that she'll be able to travel here to the United States. Biggest thing is, guys, if you go through this type of relationship, realize you're going to have to come to Ukraine multiple times, and we're not talking once or twice. You're talking 3, 4, 5 times to make sure this relationship is working. No lady's going to agree to marry you, meeting you one time in, say, or 2 times in a week period, and then you're going to go home for 8 months, not see her, and expect everything's hunky-dory and she wants to marry you. If she is, then you got some questions that you need to answer. So that's something that I really try to caution guys on. I always tell guys, the relationship doesn't start till you come back home and you have that ocean separating you. So that's something to really know and look forward to, knowing that, you're saying, well, can I afford it? I don't make a lot of money. I'm very middle class. I have multiple jobs. Yes, I had to save up for it. I'm not someone that can just throw out $8,000 and blow it. I can't, did I think it was going to be as expensive as it actually is? No, I didn't. Knowing what I know now, would I change anything? No, I really wouldn't. I would have done this earlier. The difference is making sure I had the cash reserves to do certain things, to make sure I was coming regularly to see her would have been one big difference in it. With COVID, of course, the paperwork everywhere is delayed constantly, and nowadays they say pretty much it's a year on top of whatever the paperwork says. Hey, it could take 6 to 8 months. Might as well add a year on it. That's what a lot of immigration attorneys are warning people about. So again, this is a great way to find a great lady that you can't find in the West. But that being said, all good things come to those who wait, and it's a process. It's going to take a while for that process to happen, and you to go through all the hoops and steps for you to finally be together. And having a relationship far apart isn't the easiest, but that being said, you've got to make it as easy as you can, and that means you have to travel. Most Ukrainian people do not have visas to come to the United States or Canada. They're very limited in what they can do. So that being said, if you're talking to someone online, she says, hey, I want to come visit you, send me money for a plane ticket, send me money for a visa, send me money for a where I have to take a medical exam. No, right away, that's just not going to happen. So they have to be sponsored more or less, or have a, it's called a, no, I can't think of the actual term for it, that you're going to be financially responsible more or less for her when she does come in here. And that's with the K1 process or the CR1 process. So that's for her to come to the United States. Yes. Again, if a lady's trying to tell you, oh, she'll come to the United States and meet you, that's a scam. Just know that right away. It's very, very difficult for a Ukrainian person to get a visa to the United States, a travel visa. They can travel all through Europe, but to the United States, to Canada, it's very difficult for them to get a visa. If they have one already, then you're good and gold. But to for example, for someone to say, hey, I need money for this, or I need money to do this to see you, you know, a lot of times they're scamming you. If they're saying, hey, let's meet here, again, most likely they're scamming you. Ukraine, everyone, if you do your research, it's not a wealthy country. The people there don't make a lot of different money. So they do need money, but for them to say, hey, I will meet you and I'll pay my way to do that, most likely they're not going to show up. I talk to guys all the time that tell me, hey, I was supposed to meet this lady. I went to Odessa or I went to Kyiv and no one showed up. From this other side, I was supposed to meet 3 different ladies. None of them showed up. How will you make sure that ladies that I meet through you guys will show up? So that's something you're just going to have to realize. Here's some more questions. Almost a year, actually over a year. We were engaged on Valentine's Day of 2020. And as you can see, it's been more than a year. Yeah, Mark tells you affidavit of support. Yeah, that's the magic term that you have to have when you're through both these CR1 or K1 visa process and doing all that. So was asked how often between visits to Ukraine. Whatever I mean, again, it's what you're comfortable with and what you're financially able to do. For the most part, for myself, I only get 3 weeks of vacation a year. And as you guys know, that's where I go. So each time I've tried to go, since November of the year before, I've gone 3 times. So it's just one of those things where you're going to have to plan it out and understand that you're not going to go to Ukraine, meet a girl one time, and then expect her to say yes to marrying you. And yes, you'll be able to do all the paperwork that it takes to get someone to do a K1 visa. The Homeland Security will usually shoot your request down because not enough evidence that you actually met her in person. So you've got to have all that with you. The rejection line I heard, I want to be friends with you, meaning she's not interested. Yeah, that's a good one. That one lady did say that on the thing. So here's Mark again. You can forget about a Ukrainian lady, get a tourist visa. She'll need to own property and have it for $10,000 in the bank. Forget about it. Yeah, you're usually talking about upper class or people that have a lot of different um, uh, travel for job, various things. One lady I knew that had, and I dated. She had an actual tourist or visa, but she came here for work as she worked for a marketing company, and she flew to New York at least once a year. Um, Now, again, she was the exception, not the rule. Out of the 9 ladies I went out on dates with the first time I went there, she was the only one that had a tourist visa, as far as I know. The most of the other ones that I actually got to know a little bit better, when I asked them if they'd ever been to the United States, they all said no. So that's just something to be aware of. I fly for an airline, so the cost is minimal. Then you're ahead of the game. That's a thing. Approximately, what does a round trip cost? Well, I'll tell you. I am from Oregon, which is on the West Coast, so I probably have to travel the furthest and probably the most expensive. My trips now usually take somewhere between 16 and 18 hours, 16 and a half hours, depending if I only get hour layovers, that kind of thing. And I spent anywhere from $1,300 like in the wintertime to in the summertime up to $1,800. And that's flying coach. I'm not a first class person. So that's kind of a rough estimate how much you'll cost just on airlines doing that. Again, I use Priceline. I found that the cheapest website to find flights over there. You can book them. You're going to find trips with a large gap. You can find trips or very short. So for a lot of you that know, my fiance's mother died. So I try to take a trip I tried to leave within 8 hours. Now, I found a great cost on the flight and was able to go. I just couldn't get the COVID tests in order to get it and go. So I ended up not being able to go. So anyway, that will kind of give you a rough estimate on it. Here's Mark. So he's $750 to $1,100, and that would be nice, and that would be the time wise would be great too, because I've got to usually start and go from the West Coast to the East Coast, then hop over. So anyway, that's kind of the ballpark figure. What's the common rejection line women have used on you? Usually, hey, I'm busy tonight. I can't meet with you. That's the one I got one time. And, I didn't pursue it after that. That's fine. So anyway, again, when they give you a line and they don't offer, hey, but we can go this night, that tells you she's trying to let you down easy. So take the hint, in other words. So, okay. Flew Ukrainian National Airlines. You get miles for flying. I usually take Delta. I'm a little limited on my flights, again, being so far away and being in Oregon. We have to usually fly to Seattle or Salt Lake City to get flights out. So to different European countries. So for me, this next trip I'm going to fly to Seattle, from Seattle to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam to Kyiv. And I have various stopovers with some layovers, but other than that, I don't know if I'm looking forward to 18 hours in a plane or not, but it's part of it, and she's worth it. And so for me, it's not one of those things. So If you have any other questions before I go, it doesn't look like it. Well, and again, if you do, put them in the comments below, and I do my best to try to answer them in a somewhat timely time frame here to get you the answers that you need. Otherwise, if you have questions, general questions about info@matchguaranty.com, and one of us will send you an email back and tell you what we can do for you or to help you out. If you have just general questions or that. Let's see. Oregon is known for strippers, especially. Portland is known for strippers, not Oregon. Oregon, outside of the Willamette Valley, is very rural and very more conservative, I shall say that. So yeah, my city in Albany, we don't have even a strip club. You have to go to Salem or Eugene, which is the second and third largest cities in the state to find one of those. So Oregon, yes, there is a lot of strip clubs, but that's Portland. Portland, I think in the United States has the most per capita. But again, they also burn things and buildings to the ground as a way to protest too. So I work near Portland, but I don't live in Portland. I haven't for years, and I try not to go back there as much as I can. Yes, here's a good comment again from Mark. If you go through Amsterdam, you need more COVID tests. Yes, I will be doing a COVID test, a PCR test the day before. I have one company that's going through the Portland airport that will give a result within 24 hours. And that should get me through both places. Amsterdam asked me for, when I talked to the airline, they said that they would prefer printed off test results versus on the phone. That's what I plan on doing, is taking triplicates of everything. So if I'm asked for something, I have it in my carry-on or my backpack that I'll be taking that will have when you go to Ukraine, you're going to be requested for your insurance information. You're going to be requested for your COVID test within 72 hours. So you've got to have that stuff readily available. Otherwise, people are going to get mad because you're going to be, in a huge line, and they're going to tell you more or less, when you have your stuff ready, come back, get to the back, come back. So anyway, these restrictions coming in. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We can help you out with the general questions as well. Other than that, I guess I will see you guys all next week.
Have you been searching for a beautiful wife? Do you dream of meeting the perfect woman, but haven't found her? Well, imagine if there was a simple way this could all change for you. Imagine if there was a Canadian marriage agency that would introduce you to as many beautiful women as it takes until you find the one. Ukraine, a lost world of beautiful traditional women. At last, a place where you can find the beautiful wife you have always dreamed of. Every Ukrainian woman dreams of having a happy family. Now you can have a traditional beautiful wife from Ukraine, creating happy family memories forever. So what are you waiting for? Register right now and Skype our beautiful ladies completely free. So what makes us different, you might ask? Why not ask Google simply by searching Match Guarantee Reviews?